You are listening to the Fringe Radio Network. FringeRadioNetwork.com.
You're listening to Earth Oddity, a weekly odyssey into all the oddity planet Earth has to offer. And now, serving it up are Christopher Tiny Sullivan and John Long.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Earth Oddity Podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my co-host, Christopher Tiny Sullivan.
Hello.
We hope you've had a great week. We both have. We're here to bring you some interesting news stories, whether your boss is pooting on you as a form of bullying, or you had to call into your job at Hardee's. We hope that that our stories will definitely entertain you this week. What about you? Got any good stories, Tiny?
Yes, we've got human head transplants on the docket.
Okay.
We got El Chapo's new clothing line.
Well, all right.
It's been a pretty good week.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I've had a good week too. We were talking earlier. I've been camping basically for the last 4 days, so it's good to be back in civilization and having a lot of fun with my kid, with Hudson, this weekend. So I'm doing the Boy Scout thing and camping through a torrential downpour. And it's nothing like waking up with wet gear, but, you know, you can get through with it. But let's get started here.
Yes, let's do.
With my first story here. A man insists his boss's flatulence was a form of bullying and was suing for $1.2 million.
Okay.
Now, I just want to go straight off the top here and say that I hope my family doesn't hear about this.
Bullying's not cool, but
Yeah,
$1.2 million
For a poo, I mean, come on. I mean, you just got to get some air freshener or something, right?
Oh, no.
A case of a form of schoolyard squabbling arrived at a court of appeal in Australia on Monday. The court is tasked with deciding whether flatulence is a form of bullying. According to 56-year-old David Hinkst, a former employee at Construction Engineering, it certainly is. So I got to think if you're working in the construction engineering field,
Yeah.
that's pretty commonplace, right?
I would think so. I work in tire manufacturing,
Yeah.
and I can say that it's not uncommon
Oh, yeah?
to be around that kind of thing.
Well, it's pretty uncommon in my workplace, at least that I'm aware of.
But you're dealing with the public.
Right, yeah, for the most part. And I've had to really learn some restraint in my personal life, so to be able to control myself. Anyways, Hink sued the firm for bullying in 2017, and he accused supervisor Greg Short, who Hinks referred to as Mr. Stinky.
Oh, okay, that's not bullying.
I don't know, but he accused Mr. Stinky of being a serial farter who regularly thrusted his bum at him.
Okay. Maybe now I see where this guy's coming from.
And he's seeking damages of $1.8 million, which is $1.28 million in American dollars.
Money, I got you.
I would be sitting with my face to the wall, and he would come into the room, which was small and had no windows. Hinks told the AAP he would fart behind me and walk away. Classic crop dusting. He would do this 5 or 6 times a day, which led the engineer to spray deodorant at his boss, the news site reported. The recurrent gas passing, Hinks claimed, was part of a conspiracy to end his employment and cause him severe stress.
Wow.
Hinks also alleged that he was marginalized by employees and received bullying phone calls too. So apparently they didn't like this dude.
Right.
Neither party to the lawsuit returned a request for comment.
So it's not just the flatulence, but that's just kind of the headline to grab clicks or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Stinky, in his defense, has said during the trial that he may have done it once or twice, maybe.
Right. But this was not a 5 times a day type
Right.
of thing.
And not with the intention of distressing or harassing. So the Supreme Court of Victoria Justice Rita Zammit dismissed the lawsuit in April. So
she's cool with that.
Yeah, if you were thinking of doing it, and trying to get some money out of somebody, if you're one of our Australian listeners, there's probably already some precedent set that you're not going to go far.
Right.
She ruled that even if the flatulence had happened in a small windowless office, it would not necessarily amount to bullying. Instead, the judge said there was some inappropriate behavior in the office, including passing wind, but that it was a typical banter or mucking around. So she just says just guys being guys. Right?
Exactly.
Just dudes being dudes.
Does that make her part of the problem?
Maybe so. She's enabling a bullier.
Gillette would not be cool with that.
So I don't want to say this guy's name because he's a pretty successful guy now. We grew up in Scouts together. Super great athlete, played college football, and he was famous for running and leapfrogging over you, like while you were standing, talking, or doing something, and farting right in your face on his way down. Really one of the most impressive things that ever happened. And anytime I see him like on Facebook, like he has a very prominent position in a very big city here, I'm always like, man, he used to fart in my face all the time, and here you are, basically responsible for the lives of tens of thousands of people.
Hey, man, maybe you could try a lawsuit here.
No, I'd never sue him. I've always thought, it was funny. Even if it happened to you, it wasn't even, like you weren't embarrassed because he did it to everyone. And anyone who was in Troop 45 during that era will know exactly who I'm talking about. He did a lot of other really, really crazy things that I can't get into at all because it's a family show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was he was like a leapfrog farter. It was great. I've always wished I had the athletic ability to do that to somebody, so I can't though. Let's see what else the article says here. Hinks also claimed that he was unfairly made redundant, but Zammit ruled that it was a genuine redundancy and the deed of release was lawfully executed. So imagine that's talking about that he was unlawfully fired, redundant, in Australian English or whatever. And so Hinks is appealed, and it's the case was heard by a panel of judges on the Court of Appeal. And they're expected to make ruling on Friday. So that was this past Friday. Mm-hmm. And I haven't found an update to it, but I imagine it didn't go far because what are you going to do?
Yeah.
There's no way for you to get any kind of compensation because the guy was pooting on you,
Yeah, I agree.
Number one thing you should have did is just like socked him in the jaw one time and like, hey, man, do that in somebody else's office, I guess. But maybe he didn't want to.
You need hot coffee spilled on you, or maybe a finger in your chili before you're going to get that kind of money.
Right. Yes. Well, I wonder if his boss ever walked in and was like, "Pull my finger, or I'm firing you."
Okay, now that's bullying.
That's bullying. You got to pull my finger right now. Come on, pull it.
Oh,
anyways, the lawsuit stinks. I guess that's just the way it goes.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, are you familiar with the Italian surgeon Sergio Cannavaro?
Oh, very familiar.
He's the guy who wants to perform the first human head transplant.
Right. Yes.
And if you remember, we kind of talked about this earlier last year because the patient that he had lined up to undergo the procedure, he dropped out. He married this gorgeous woman.
Right. Yes, like a 10-10 smoke show.
He had a son.
Yep.
And he was like, you know what? I've got a lot to live for.
Right.
I'm not cool with this anymore.
I'm fine how I am.
Yes.
That's right.
So don't blame him.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That would have been my decision too.
Props to that guy.
Yes.
He pulled off the steal of the century.
Yeah. I married out of my league. I married out of my league, but this dude puts all of us to shame.
I'm gonna say all your limbs are functioning, right? He was like a quadriplegic. No offense to our quadriplegic listeners.
Well, you know what? I would tell anyone in a wheelchair, don't give up
hope. This
dude.
Whoa,
just
man.
Google, okay?
Yeah, right.
You know how to use the Google machine.
That's right. Check him out.
Check his wife out.
Dude,
beautiful.
But yeah, number one. Guy did really well for himself.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm envious, but I'm impressed.
Right.
I'm very impressed, yes.
Well, this doctor has decided not to be deterred by this, and he and this other surgeon that he's working with, whose name is Xiaoping Ren, so they say that they are ready to begin human trials.
Okay.
The title of the headline here is Scientists planning the world's first head transplant say that they're ready to start human trials. Scientists planning the world's first head transplant say they are one step closer to starting human trials. The neurosurgeons have already performed the controversial operation on a corpse. But now, Italian Sergio Cannavaro and Xiaoping Ren from China claim to have repaired irreversible spinal cord injuries in animal experiments. Golly.
That's great, though.
In animal experiments.
I wanted to just let you keep trying. Just keep trying.
I'll get it eventually. But they've chopped the head off a rat and stuck it on another rat.
Yeah.
And,
and got the spinal cord
it did really
to grow
well.
back. Yeah.
Yes. And then I think they've done it also with like maybe a bigger rat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, or something like that.
It's impressive.
Very impressive.
Almost as impressive as that time Shane brought a fly back to life with salt.
That's right. That's very true. Wow, that was impressive. You know,
it really was.
Yeah, I've done that before. Once I saw him do it, I tried it one day, and it actually really will work. So yeah, you just gotta. I guess the salt dries it out or something. Nobody knows what we're talking about, too.
I come really close to reporting him for necromancy. Like I was ready to trial him for being a witch after I saw that.
We have a friend, Shane, who once caught a fly and drowned it in water.
Held it underwater until
it wouldn't move anymore.
It wouldn't move no more.
And then poured a bunch of salt on it, and like a minute or two later, the fly comes back to life. So
yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Very impressive. Very impressive. And I tried it myself, too, because I was like, what kind of voodoo did he do? But it actually works. Me and Andrew did it one day at the store. So
it is voodoo.
Yeah.
It does.
I guess it is voodoo. That's a good point.
Well,
anyways, that's got nothing to do with chopping a head off and sewing it back on somebody else.
2 studies published this week show that monkeys and dogs were able to walk again after their spinal cords were severed and successfly repaired.
Okay.
So that's impressive.
That's very impressive.
Anyone who's done any kind of, just done the cursory Google search about head transplants knows that there were experiments similar to this conducted in the 70s.
Yeah.
And they were successful, but it resulted in the, what am I trying to say? The paralyzation of the chimps, the poor chimps that they tried it on.
Yes.
Because once you sever the spinal cord, you're not moving.
You just got a new
anymore.
head on a motionless body.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, anyway, the pair said that their new findings are unprecedented and should pave the way for the first human trials. Cannavaro told USA Today that the findings completely reject the view that a severed spinal cord cannot be mended in any way, a mantra uncritically repeated over and over.
Okay.
Xiaoping said that the breakthrough is proof that human trials should be given the go-ahead. The studies, the findings of which are published in the journal Surgical Neurology International, took place at Harbin Medical University in China. In 2015, Professor Cannavaro announced that he wanted to transplant the head of a paralyzed man, Valery Spiridonov. That's the guy.
That's Valery. Yes. Good job, Valery.
Yes, well done,
Shout out to
Valery.
you, buddy.
Anyway, he wanted to transplant his head onto the body of a donor.
Mm-hmm.
The procedure that he explained would involve cooling the bodies to a state of deep hypothermia before severing the spinal columns using a diamond blade. The next step would be to reattach the blood vessels and the nerves, connecting those from Valerie's head to those of the dead donor's body. And this isn't in this article here, but if you remember, he's got some kind of black potion stuff that you put on the nerves, and it's supposed to help them grow back together.
Yeah, right.
It's got a lot of stem cells in it.
Yeah.
And some other stuff.
Probably some charcoal.
Maybe a
little bit of Cajun Girl.
A dash of sugar and spice.
That's right, yeah.
Mix it up, you got magic head reattaching potion.
Exactly.
And I will say that is really impressive.
It's super impressive.
That he's been able to, cut heads off dogs and monkeys and heal them back together. But as is said earlier in this article, this hasn't gone without criticism. It says that Cannavaro's plans to perform the first human operation on Valerie was dealt a blow when the 33-year-old Russian announced last year that he was no longer on board. He dropped out after his wife gave birth to their couple's miracle son. And Cannavaro and Wren's work has been met with harsh criticism by the scientific and medical community. Professor Jan Schultz from the University of Oxford said that the procedure conjures up gory Frankenstein imagery and described the proposals as disturbing. The chances that a person who has their head transplanted onto another body will be able to gain any control over it or benefit from that grafted body part are completely negligible, he added. The expected therapeutic value for the patient would be minimal, while the risk of graft rejection-related side effects or simply death as a consequence of a mishap during the operation are huge. Attempting such a thing, given the current state of the art, would be nothing short of criminal.
Oh, wow.
As a neuroscientist, I would really like the general public to be reassured that neither I nor any of my colleagues think that beheading people for extremely long-shot experiments is acceptable.
Well, I mean, could we not get this guy together with ISIS, the surgeon together with ISIS, and then we've got...
Save those people?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's got practice. They're doing their thing. You know, if it works, that's great. If it doesn't, you know, I mean, that was probably what was happening anyways. So,
as ironic as this is going to sound, I don't think ISIS would be cool with this.
Yeah, probably not.
I think
they're trying to prove a point here.
They've got ethics that would prevent them from reattaching heads.
Well, I was thinking while you're saying that, because he mentioned that it conjures up images of Frankenstein. I would do it if I could get some bolts sticking out of my neck. You know? I'm like, the only way I'm doing this, Doc, is if you give me a couple of like 5/16 bolts sticking out of my neck on either side. So,
I would have some demands for the donor body that I'm going to get in return.
Yeah, I mean you're going to have to be in shape.
It's got to be buff.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm talking. You got to be a good looking dude if I'm gonna put my head on you.
Something else too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's go ahead and upgrade while we can. Yeah. I got you. Yeah, let's go ahead and get a little upgrade there too, Doc. Let me get the specs on the body before I check off on this, Doc. But old Valerie didn't need that.
No,
he was just fine. Golly.
As a neuroscientist, I would really like the general. Oh, I read that part already. Dr. James Fields of the University of Manchester said that the idea is morally wrong if the scientist cannot first prove the procedure improves the life of a large animal. Professor Katarina Becker from the University of Edinburgh said that an actual success of a head transplant must be measured by long-term survival of the head and body, with the head controlling motor function. This can obviously not be assessed on a corpse, and for all we know, would also not occur in a living human. So,
and just so everybody knows, if you type in Valerie head, like the third Google suggestion is head transplant wife. So we're not the only people that have been looking this up. Just so everybody knows, Valerie's pretty popular out there. Well, you know, I mean, if you volunteer to go in for this, I guess you know what's going on, you know. And if this dude thinks he's got the science down to work, then I mean, if you're willing to risk it, then risk it. That's how I feel about it.
I'll say that, admittedly, it is kind of creepy, but I also try to keep in mind that there was a time when heart transplants and lung transplants and liver transplants and all this other stuff was creepy also.
True.
If you remember, you know, or well, not in our lifetimes, but, you know, back in the 1800s.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, that was all really, you know, wild pseudoscience at the time. Mm-hmm. And then somebody was like, well, no, I can make this happen. And I've done it in a few experiments. And sooner or later, we got to try it on humans. So this may be the beginning of helping some people out some way.
I would like to see the animals that he says have been successful because that's impressive.
Very impressive.
You cut the head off something and attach it to another body, and then it's able to walk. I mean, I don't expect him to go out and start pulling a dog sled on the Iditarod in Alaska.
No. But what if you could take like a deer head and put it on like a German Shepherd? Boom. Then we're getting into nightmare stuff, you know?
Yeah.
You got a deer dog.
Well, it's a different species, so
I don't know.
I don't know if that would work.
We'll get there eventually.
But like you say, I mean, I guess we'll get there eventually.
We'll get there eventually. Somebody will be like, I want a set of deer dogs. And they'll do it.
Or maybe my great-great-grandson will one day be like, you know what? I want a giant set of eagle wings.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Right. I'll probably go in for that too. If I could get a good set of wings.
Like, was it Angel on X-Men?
Yeah, true.
There you go.
They're gonna be some big wings to get me off the ground. You know, you gotta have some power to them. Like, Mr. Long, there's not a bird big enough.
I would be like, well, my wings are cosmetic. they're to make me look cool.
Just want them for cosmetic reasons. I want to fly,
Yeah.
most definitely. Well, that's all pretty creepy. But speaking of creepy, let's talk about this next story here.
All right.
It comes from local10.com. We get a lot of stories from local10.com. South Florida man attacks mother who refused to dress his mannequin, deputies say. And
Wait,
really,
what?
look, the first paragraph of this is it's just a ride. It's a wild ride, so buckle up. A South Florida man was arrested Monday after he attacked his mother who refused to dress his mannequin, beating her with a kitchen stool and shoving dumplings into her mouth, deputy said.
Golly.
Yeah, which you don't have to beat me with a stool to get me to eat dumplings. I'll do it on my own volition. Mikhail Daniker, 40, of Boynton Beach, faces charges of aggravated battery on a victim 65 or older and domestic battery by strangulation. According to a Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office probable cause affidavit, Daniker and his mother were in their backyard when he asked her to dress his mannequin. I'm sorry, that's not funny.
What is the deal? He's got a mannequin and he needs what?
I mean,
What's going on here? I still don't understand.
there's two. All right, I think there's two plausible theories. Number one, he's got a mannequin like you would see down at J.C. Penney's when
Right.
you're going to shop for some new jeans.
Yes.
Or he's got a mannequin, just a companion.
A doll.
Doll, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only scenarios that come in my mind.
Well, why is it his mom's job to dress her?
I don't know, man. I don't know. You got me on that one. Why can't you dress your own mannequin like a grown man,
Seriously.
like any 40-year-old man would do? Dress your own doll, okay? It says after she refused to do so, Daniker stood in the doorway, blocking her from getting back inside the home. So she pushed the mannequin to the ground, deputy said. She was tired of that mannequin. She'd had enough of it. As Daniker moved to pick up the mannequin, his mother ran inside. Oh, she gave him an okie doke, like, oh, let me push this out of the way. You get out of the door and I'm inside. But Daniker followed her into the kitchen and pushed her to the floor. Daniker then picked up a small stool on the kitchen floor and struck her several times in the head with it. He then grabbed... I'm sorry. It's not funny. It's not funny, John. He then grabbed small dumplings made for dinner and started to shove them into her mouth. He's like...
Why?
I don't know.
Why did he do any of this stuff?
I don't know. After his mother told him she couldn't breathe, Daniker stepped away from her and began throwing items from around the kitchen, including a ceramic cup that shattered on the kitchen counter.
Golly.
A neighbor heard Daniker's mother screaming for help as she ran out of the house and called 911. Deputies said Daniker was combative as he was arrested and taken to jail. Daniker's mother was taken to the hospital where she received stitches for cuts to her head. I just imagine that this is not a store mannequin. That's the only way. Like he has some sort of emotional connection to this mannequin,
Right.
And he got a little testy.
What was the mannequin's name?
It doesn't say. But I don't know. I feel like he probably had no problem undressing the mannequin. Just need a little help getting it dressed. And Mom wasn't down for it.
So is this a situation like, let's just say the mannequin's name is Dolly or something. It's like,
Yeah,
Dolly
Dolly.
don't like you.
I guess so. Well, a lot of moms have problems with their sons get a girlfriend. That's commonplace.
Yeah.
That's very commonplace. And if you're 40 and still living with your mom and you bring home a mannequin, Mom may have a little problem with it, And maybe he thought he was going to get them to hey, Mom, why don't you dress the mannequin, and that would be fun. Why don't you put on this new, nightgown she got or something? And Mom wasn't having any of it. And he got a little upset. But I mean, you can't ask your mom to dress your mannequin.
No.
You're a grown man. Dress your own mannequin.
You wouldn't ask your mom to dress your girlfriend, would you?
No, I wouldn't personally.
I mean,
No.
maybe your stepmom, but not your mom.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, not your real mom. Yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's a really great movie from the 80s called Mannequin. Have you ever seen it?
I think I have.
It's got C. Thomas Howell in it.
Where like the mannequins turn into real people or something.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some nudity in it. One of my first experiences with nudity.
I saw the USA version.
Okay.
So
this is one of my first experiences with nudity as a young man. I've just now remembered that. But yeah, I could tell you where I was when I watched it, by the way.
dang.
Yeah. But yeah, just word to the wise out there. If you
No mannequins.
If you got a mannequin, if that's the route you're choosing to go, is to have a mannequin.
Keep it to yourself.
Just don't ask your mom to do a lot with it. You know?
Right.
I mean, keep that thing in the
Not
closet.
that you should want to.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, just that's not cool.
No,
Your mom's never going to be down for that.
No.
No, not at all.
She shouldn't.
Leave that thing in the closet, store it under the bed or whatever, and then act real shocked when she finds it, like you did when she found a Playboy when you were like 13. You're like, well, how did I get there? That's all you got to do.
Oh, God.
Like, I can't believe she shoved dumplings in her mouth.
Yeah, I don't.
It's like, now you getting the dumplings, Mom. You made Dolly mad.
I've heard the whole story, but I am every bit as confused now
Right?
as I was before you read it.
Oh, thank you, Florida.
Like, none of that cleared up any of my.
And prayers to this
doubts,
lady.
yeah.
To this lady, I hope she has a full, speedy recovery, and her son gets whatever help he needs. Maybe finds a girlfriend or something. But yeah, that seems like he's got some problems.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Well, audience, I promise you that we are every bit as confused as you are, and I wish we could shed more light on this, but since we can't, we're just going to move right on to Alex Jones.
Okay. Somebody normal.
Somebody that we can understand.
InfoWars.
Yeah. He was on Joe Rogan here a few weeks back.
He was, yeah. I saw
And
him
I
like
haven't-
smoking a joint or something with him.
And I haven't listened to it yet, but I think he was invited, or Alex invited Joe Rogan to come on InfoWars.
Okay.
And I think he did it. Like, I hadn't listened to it yet, but he said on the Joe Rogan show, because he was deplatformed, and the reason that
Right.
all the tech companies gave for him being deplatformed was him saying that Sandy Hook was a hox and it wasn't real.
Right, yeah. That was a big Alex Jones thing.
It really was.
I mean, he harped on it.
And he said on the Joe Rogan Experience that he didn't believe that anymore,
Right.
and that he was convinced it was real. And here recently, he was at a deposition, and he now says that it was a form of psychosis that made him believe events like Sandy Hook Massacre were staged.
Okay.
So,
Psychosis.
I think he may be onto something.
Yeah,
I may agree
mean,
with him for a
I
change.
don't know. I mean, I just feel like if you got a lot of people out there that are listening to your show, you got to keep coming up with crazy things to
Yeah.
keep them listening. And so this was like a really obvious one he could use. It was fake, as if the government couldn't go kill a bunch of kids in the school if they wanted to. Somehow they had it orchestrated as a fake shooting. That was always my argument. Like, if it was fake,
Yeah.
why would the government care if they killed 50 kids or whatever?
Well, I was going to say, we're getting into dark territory here, but Operation Northwoods.
I don't even know about that, bro.
Oh, are you serious?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Oh,
We're not going to
about to go down a rabbit hole, folks.
We don't have the time to go into this.
We need our conspiracy friend. We have a conspiracy friend that we've asked to do just a segment every once in a while on the show, and he has yet to confirm with us. But
Well, I don't think he wants to come out into the light. I think he wants to stay behind
Well, we're
the
going to let him
scenes.
have an assumed identity. I'll let him come up with whatever name he wants. But
Well, anyway, just briefly, in the 1960s, there were certain parts of the CIA that wanted to go to war with Cuba and annex that land.
yeah, not a bad
And-
plan. A lot of beachfront property down
Well, I was
there.
going to say, the United States government has wanted Cuba for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing new.
Pretty strategic to the Caribbean.
And they came up with a plan called Operation Northwoods, where they were going to stage some terrorist attacks and blame it on Cuba to get the public on board with going to war with Cuba.
Oh, when has this ever happened before?
I was going to say, President Kennedy nixed the idea. He said,
Right.
absolutely not. We're
Right.
not going to kill American citizens so we can accomplish our political goals.
Right.
And then some people say that's why he was assassinated.
Maybe
I don't
so.
know. I don't know if he
know.
was or not. But now, as far as Operation Northwoods, it was like a legit thing.
Yeah.
And if that's how they acted then,
Oh, yeah.
why should we not believe that they wouldn't act in similar ways today.
You tell me, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, I don't know. well, that goes back to your point. Like,
My point was that
these kids were really killed.
Right.
Whether it was a psyop or not,
right.
It wasn't fake.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I feel like if you wanted to go down the conspiracy road with the Sandy Hook shooting, the most logical would be is that the government sent like the CIA or whatever, Navy SEAL, whoever you want to pick in there just to kill a bunch of kids.
And then blamed it on this.
And then to me, that's much more plausible. I do not prescribe to that theory.
Right, exactly.
I go on record before we get deplatformed.
I think it was a sick, disturbed kid who
absolutely.
I shouldn't. I'm gonna go back and bleep out his name because he doesn't deserve to be named.
True. Yeah. All right.
But I think it was a disturbed kid who did this.
Yeah.
End of story. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
But the idea that it wasn't real and that there were no bodies, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But anyway. All they had to say that broadcaster and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones said that it was a, quote, form of psychosis, end quote, that caused him to believe certain events like the Sandy Hook massacre were staged. On December 14th, 2012, 20 children and 6 adults were killed, blah, blah, blah. We all know the story. Jones, who founded Infowars.com and hosted a 3-hour news talk radio program, which he said was carried on more than 160 stations, had repeatedly suggested in the past that the Sandy Hook shooting was a giant hoax carried out by crisis actors on behalf of people who oppose the Second Amendment. Infowars has also suggested that the September 11th attacks were an inside job orchestrated by the U.S. government.
Yeah, but everybody knows Bush did that.
Yes, because he wanted to go to war with Iraq.
That's right.
This week, Jones acknowledged that the shooting was real during a sworn deposition he made as part of a defamation case brought against him by the Sandy Hook victims' families. Quote, and I myself, maybe should I say it like Alex Jones?
Sure.
And I myself have almost had like a form of psychosis back in the past where I basically thought everything was staged, even though I've now learned a lot of times things aren't staged. So I think as a pundit, someone giving an opinion that, my opinions have been wrong, but they were never wrong consciously to hurt people.
Okay.
So,
well, yeah. I mean, only claiming that something didn't happen that happened. Surely
he didn't do that to hurt feelings.
Yeah, he didn't do that to hurt feelings.
He did that to...
Well, he had psychosis. It surely wasn't about ratings or anything else, right?
It was psychosis.
Yes, all
a
psychosis.
form of psychosis.
Right, yeah. And now he's going through a divorce trial, and he's getting sued by these people, and he's trying to backtrack on it, which to me, mighty beta move from Alpha. I mean, he always is like Mr. What was all those supplements he took? Like super male vitality or whatever it was, he would plug. So, I mean, maybe he's off of those now.
Give me the minerals I need.
That's right. Yeah. He sold like food for like the apocalypse too. I don't remember if you remember. I used to listen to him a good bit.
He's very entertaining.
Super entertaining.
I was about to say, just so everyone out there listening to this, Alex Jones is very entertaining.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe all his crap to think he's an entertaining person.
Pretty funny too.
He really is.
Yeah, it can be actually really funny. But
if you want to laugh, and I mean you want to just have yourself a good laugh, go on YouTube, and it's none of his videos like from him, officially are there, but there's plenty of Alex Jones on YouTube from other people.
Yeah, right.
Google or YouTube. Top 10 Alex Jones meltdowns.
Or is that ripping his shirt off and everything?
He looks
the globalists are not gonna win.
He looks like he's trying to Hulk out.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like Alex, you kind of dug your own hole here, and that's just you're gonna have to deal with it. You're probably gonna have to pay some money to these people for emotional suffering because nobody likes you.
Right.
I mean, I hate to say it, the majority of people have a very negative opinion of you because you jumped on this.
You've said some really bad stuff.
Yeah, you jumped on this bandwagon and you rode it as hard as you could, and it turns out that these people actually had to bury their children.
Yeah.
And so you're going to have to pay for the consequences for that. I don't necessarily feel like they should because I'm anti-censorship. I mean, to the max. I'm pretty much, let's put it all out there.
Right.
and let the free market decide what's good and what's not. But, I'm not for them taking your show down and taking it off of YouTube or whatever. But I can kind of understand, if that had been one of my kids, I would have already showed up and punched you in the mouth.
And now you've got all these people who listen to Alex Jones showing up at your house and your work and calling your phone and leaving you voicemails saying that you're a crisis actor and you're a liar.
Yeah, right.
And you're not a patriot.
Yes.
And all this stuff. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so those people went through a lot of stuff because of you. And, I know some people who believe that Sandy Hooks is a hoax because of you, Alex Jones. And, that's really how it goes. And these people I like and I care for, they happen to be wrong about this issue. And, you're the reason they're that way, man.
Part of me feels like every man is responsible for his own destiny, but you're not helping, Alex Jones.
Yes.
You're not helping.
Right. Well, that's like I may become a crack addict one day, but the dude who gave me crack had a hand in it. It's ultimately on me, but the guy who was like who introduced me to crack
could not agree with you.
He had a little bit of a part in it. So yeah.
Listening to Alex Jones is a lot like crack doing crack.
Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Like he's crack, Joe Rogan is DMT. It's just all the same.
Well, anyway,
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate these families are going through that, By the same token, I think Alex Jones is a pretty funny dude, and I always enjoyed it when I listened to him. I'm smart enough to recognize, hey, that sounds like a load of crap, or hey, there may be something to this, I don't know.
I think moving forward, Alex Jones' probably best course of action would be to maybe just fake his death.
Oh, yeah.
And come up with a new identity and start over again. Because we all know that he's really Bill Hicks.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you just got to come back.
You've done it before.
Yeah.
You need to just go on and do it again.
Come back as a stand-up comedian, That's all he's got to do.
And Alex Jones, he could go out and leave his audience thinking they got to him.
That's right. That's right. They got him. And then he comes back a few years later. He's lost some weight, new hair, or whatever, new teeth or something, and he's doing stand-up on The Tonight Show.
Yeah. He's Bob Ricks.
It's pretty amazing that we both know that he's Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was an amazing stand-up comedian, by the way. Loved him.
Really good actor.
Yeah. He's pulled off this Alex Jones thing for so long. It's great. Okay, so let's move on to Little Egg Harbor Township in New Jersey.
Let's do it.
A South Jersey man was arrested Tuesday after police say he was fighting with himself and exposed his genitals in a Little Egg Harbor Township Wawa. Police say they were called to the Mystic Islands Wawa at 9 p.m. Tuesday for a male acting suspiciously. Now let's talk about Wawa, because some of our listeners may not know. Wawa is like a convenience store / grocery store, like pretty big, kind of like a Buc-ee's for Yankees, right?
I've never been in one, but I've heard they're amazing.
Yeah, right.
So
yeah, they're like Buc-ee's for Yankees, I think.
Right.
Pretty much that's how they are. You ever been to a Buc-ee's?
I haven't been to a Buc-ee's.
Oh, the Buc-ee's are like redneck heaven.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Do they have the Confederate flag trucker hats?
And, I don't remember seeing
like the wizard crystal figurines behind the glass.
There's a lot of crystal figurines
right next to the Zippos.
Yeah, you can buy a bullwhip if you want one. I mean, they got everything. It's like flea market meets gas station meets Tanny Hill Trade Days meets grocery store meets fast food
meets a food truck.
Yes, with gasoline
and fireworks. Don't forget the fireworks.
Sure. Witnesses say 37-year-old Jason Kramer was under the influence of something. After speaking with him, Kramer was sent on his way and said he made arrangements for transportation home. About 15 minutes later, police were called back to the Wawa after witnesses say Kramer began fighting with himself out front of the store, reportedly punching himself in the face and scratching his eyes.
Like Gollum?
Yes. Several witnesses told police that Kramer had pulled down his pants, exposed and grabbed his genitals, and began yelling obscenities at customers.
Of course he did.
Well, I mean, like, if you're fighting yourself, did they, like, make up all of a sudden, and now he's got his genitals out or something? I mean, that's just what I'm wondering.
I don't know.
Kramer was arrested and charged with lewdness. He was released and transported home pending a future court date. That's all the article says, other than, the dude was definitely under the influence of something. Bath salts, who knows? But poor guy, poor Jason Kramer here.
He's a hazard to himself.
Yeah, right.
Don't let him get him.
I mean, I've been messed up in my life, but never fight yourself messed up. That's a whole new level. And then pull down your pants and expose yourself.
I've been really mad at myself, but never enough to take it out on me.
Nah. I mean, there's a joke there. I can't say it. I want to say it, but I can't say it. Man, it almost came out and I stopped myself, which shows a lot of growth on my part.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a little beating going on. That's all I'll say.
Oh, gracious.
I couldn't keep myself from saying it, I just can't stop. I can't. I have a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, not with that, with like my internal filter. Yeah.
Are you done?
I'm done.
You need a minute?
No, I'm good. It doesn't take me long.
All right. Let's move on to our next story. The headline is Alabama Family Dollar clerk flights. God. Alabama Family Dollar clerk fights off sword-wielding robbers with a gun.
Okay. Yeah, you don't mess around at Family Dollar. It ain't like Dollar General.
No.
You can get away with some stuff in Dollar General. They don't play around at Family Dollar.
It says here that two masked men wielding swords tried to rob a Family Dollar in Alabama last week before they were thwarted by an employee carrying a gun, investigators said.
Okay.
The suspects burst into a Family Dollar in Birmingham last Wednesday and demanded money from the clerk, but bolted after he showed them his firearm, according to police.
So I bet you he was just like, when they whipped those swords out, he was like, oh, this is the day. I've been waiting for this to happen.
Yeah.
I carried this gun around for 15 years, and now I get to pull it out.
Precious Spencer had only been on the job for a couple of days when she described how one of her managers used a gun to fend off the medieval robbers, Fox 6 reported. So... man, they were going after old Precious.
Oh, yeah.
You believe that?
Can't get Precious.
No. He got to the end of the aisle and said, they're robbing us. They're robbing us. They came here with swords, and that kind of threw us for a loop because no one really got robbed with swords before.
No, not since like the 1700s.
Yeah. Not since the collapse of feudal Japan in the Meiji era has anyone tried to rob somebody with a sword.
That's a very highbrow joke right there. And I don't know that many of our listeners will get any of those references. But I commend you.
Well, you got it.
Yes, I commend you. Yes. Talk about feudal Japan. Okay, that's great. I'm on board for this.
Spencer told the news station, what were they going to do? Chop our heads off with it and get stuff?
Maybe.
Well, maybe.
I would know a guy that could put them back on.
Yeah. You need to get in touch with
we got
with Dr. Cannavaro.
Yeah.
Spencer said one of the men was holding a short sword and the other one was holding a long sword. She said the manager decided to get involved to prevent anyone from getting hurt. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
He said they rob us too much, and that's why I have a gun. Mm-hmm. And I understand why he feels the way he feels. He's trying to secure himself and protect the people that are in here, she said. None of the other employees were allowed to carry firearms, Spencer said, adding that the store was planning to hire an armed guard after recent break-ins. Spencer says that the store had been involved in 13 robbery attempts in the last 5 months.
Wow.
Luckily, no one was injured, said Birmingham Police Sergeant Johnny Williams. We want everybody to realize that although this may seem funny to some, we still consider these guys dangerous.
Sure.
The weapon of choice at the time was a machete or a sword, but these guys could easily escalate things using other weapons like firearms.
Oh, yeah,
so,
sure.
I hope they catch them. And
well, you know what they say. The only thing that stops a bad guy with a sword is a good guy with a gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Or a bad guy with a gun.
Yeah, true.
Either one's going to beat a sword.
It's like that Indiana Jones scene where the guy's whipping that sword around and he just shoots him.
Yeah.
That's
with his little Webley revolver.
That's right. Yes. I mean,
basically, good rule of thumb. Good guy with a sword, bad guy with a sword. It don't matter.
Yeah,
gun's going to beat it.
Yeah,
never bring a sword to a gunfight.
Right. Yeah, Which I don't know. I mean, you just think about like two guys sitting around like, hey, let's go rob the Family Dollar tonight. We need some money. We're going to go out.
We need some money to go get some guns.
True, right.
So we can, be better successful criminals.
Yeah. And then, just let's get some swords and do it. Like, what would make you think that was a good idea? I mean, maybe if you were somewhere where people didn't, weren't armed to the teeth like Alabamians are of every race, all Alabamians.
Like if
have
you're in
guns.
Washington, D.C., you could probably rob somebody with a sword.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. But down
if you
here,
were menacing enough.
Yeah, down here, you're getting a gun poked right back in your nose. Like, come on, buddy, what are you going to do? That's not a good plan.
I mean, you can't even trespass on someone's property without getting a gun shoved in your face.
Also, like, I would imagine a Family Dollar or your Dollar General or your Dollar Tree probably has about $50 cash in the drawer, and that's it. I mean, you're not getting a lot out of there because you can go buy like a loaf of bread, a gallon of milk, some, socks for your children and some kitty litter and get out of there for like $5. You're not paying a whole lot of money for any of it. So
you could probably make more money robbing the stock boys in the back room who were like, dealing crack on the side.
That's right. Yes.
They carry a lot of cash.
Exactly.
You could probably make more money robbing them.
Maybe that was their plan. They were going to work through all the employees and stuff. But I don't know.
Like a train robbery back in the day.
Right. Yes. Just everybody empty out your wallets and your pockets and put it all in this bag. But, when the dude whipped his pistol out, I bet you they were like, ooh, this is a bad idea. Let's get out of here.
I was about to say, occupational hazard. This is why you don't want to be a criminal.
Or a Family Dollar clerk in Birmingham. Either one. Just either or.
Yeah.
No offense to Family Dollar clerks, but I've been to a Family Dollar
in a perfect
downtown
world.
Birmingham.
In a perfect world, we could work at Family Dollar without fear of sword wielding maniacs.
Yes, right.
But unfortunately, this is not a perfect world.
I've been to a Family Dollar in downtown Birmingham, and it is a bleak place. I'll say that. It was like one time we had to take Hudson to a cardiologist's appointment, and Libby puked all over herself in the van.
Oh no!
So I dropped Deidre and Hudson off at the cardiology office and had to drive around, found a Family Dollar to buy cleaning supplies, clothes, everything. And I cleaned and changed Libby on the side of the street in downtown Birmingham. And it's probably the Family Dollar that got robbed. It was bars on the windows and everything.
Yeah.
And, bought her a whole new outfit, dressed her, cleaned everything up. She puked more than I've ever seen a kid puke in my life. But I was driving really fast to get there because we thought we were going to be late.
Did you have anybody ask you if you were a cop?
No. I got some strange looks, though.
Because then you would just reply, just don't do anything illegal around me because I don't feel like doing any paperwork tonight.
I'd just be like, look, man, I'm trying to get my puke-stained minivan cleaned up here. I don't want any trouble, okay?
And neither do you, by the way.
Right. All right, so let's move on. This is a pretty short article. It comes from thetakeout.com, and it's filed to Florida.
Okay.
Florida Hardee's employee allegedly faked robbery to avoid work. As the old saying goes, if you find a job doing what you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. This was clearly not the case for 32-year-old Dundee, Florida man Brian Anderson, who wanted so desperately to bail on his 11 a.m. shift at a Hardee's that he instead opted to fake his own robbery at gunpoint. A Facebook post from the Polk County Sheriff's Office tells of Brian's eventful Tuesday morning. It says, as always, avoid reading the comments. Brian of Dundee called 911 to report an armed robbery. Two unknown suspects took his money, his necklace, and his cell phone. They threw the phone on the ground, jumped into a black Ford Crown Victoria, and sped away. Deputies quickly responded, along with air and K9. However, this is not exactly what went down. Deputies quickly learned that the robbery never happened, and Brian confessed that he made up the story because he didn't want to show up for his 11 a.m. shift at the restaurant where he works.
That's just too early, man. 11 a.m.?
That's right.
Are you kidding me?
It's too early to go to work. It's just the right time to fake a robbery. Brian was arrested and charged with misuse of 911 and knowingly giving false information to law enforcement. On the bright side, Brian didn't have to go to his 11 a.m. shift at the restaurant. So that's all that article is. But basically, it's pretty sad.
It really is.
I mean, just call in like sick or whatever, dude. Or just don't show up as Hardee's.
I will say my very first job that I ever had, I hated it. I could not stand it.
Where was that?
Well, I don't want to say.
Come on.
It wasn't a horrible job, but it was sacking groceries at a grocery store.
Was this for my dad?
No,
Did you work for my dad?
I didn't work for your dad.
Oh, wow. That would have been great.
I worked for this other guy.
Which my dad has a really great joke.
Okay.
He told me the other day, he said that he's got a really great butt. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, every time I get onto my employees and walk away, they say, what a double S.
That is a great job.
Yeah.
A great joke.
Yeah, coming from my dad, it was super hilarious.
Well, anyway, I was just saying that, man, I hated that job. Something fierce.
Yeah.
And I do remember, I never called in a bomb or a fake robbery. But there were times I'd be in the parking lot and I would think to myself, if a car would just drive along and hit me, I would have to go to the hospital and I wouldn't have to finish. I wouldn't have to finish up tonight or work any of this next week probably.
I've pretty much enjoyed every job I've had, but I fired a lot of people from the restaurant. And
Yeah.
they would get mad. On a rare occasion they would get mad. A lot of people I fired, I'm still friends with to this day. They knew what was down when it happened. But I had a dude get really mad one time, and he was like cussing me out and everything. And I'm like, look, he stopped him. I was like, hold on, what was his name? I can't even remember his name. I see his goofy face. I was like, look, man. You're making $7.25 an hour, dude. It's not worth getting upset over. I was like, go walk across the street to Mama Goldberg's. They're hiring and get a job over there, dude. Like, no need to get this upset over this job.
Did you tell him you'd even give him a good recommendation?
Oh, yeah. I told everybody I fired. I was like, look, man, if you need a recommendation, I'll tell them you're the best employee I ever had. I
will lie through my teeth.
I'm like, 'cause you're not my problem anymore. You're their problem.
Great.
Yeah. I was like, so I won't even mention that I fired you to say you left this job because, I wasn't trying to ruin somebody's life. It's just like, hey, you can't work for me anymore, and go do whatever you want to do, and I'll help you any way I can in life. But yeah, I was just like, why are you so upset over $7.25 an hour, man, and making a scene here in the middle of the restaurant? Just go do something else, Like, you're really just taking this too seriously. We're working in a sandwich shop here, man.
Act like you've never been fired before.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I've pretty much enjoyed every job I've had, and I've never felt the need to call in a fake robbery to keep me from going to work. I have, on occasion, when I was growing up, I have been like, oh, I got a real bad headache, I can't come into work or whatever, because you want to go hang out at the river with your friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I want to go see your girl.
Yeah, as an adult, my job now, I love it. It's awesome. So I show up all the time, especially since the coworkers listen. I don't want them to know. Maybe I call in every once in a while. I'm kidding. I never call in.
Well, I was about to say, I don't know about you, but at my house, I got to go to work just to get a break.
Yeah, right.
So,
yes. Like, I got 4 kids now? I don't want to hang out with them. I got to go to work, get away from them.
Well, this is my last story. Are you through all yours?
Yeah, I'm done with all mine.
Okay. So for our last story of the show, and this was teased earlier.
Sorry.
El Chapo's family hopes to fashion a clothing line with the drug lord's brand.
Oh, yeah.
So
I bet you these are going to be great clothes, too.
I bet they'll be high quality.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
El Chapo branded clothing complete with the convicted drug lord's name and signature could soon become available in the United States and Mexico. From his cell in a Manhattan federal prison, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman signed a contract granting the rights to his name and signature to a limited liability company, or LLC, that will be headed up by his wife, Emma Coroyo. I can't say it. Please, El Chapo, don't come after me. I mean no
Mrs. El Chapo.
I mean no disrespect. And attorneys who worked with him behind the scenes during his recent drug conspiracy trial in Brooklyn Once the leader of a murderous drug cartel in Mexico, Guzman was convicted last month of running a continuing criminal enterprise and other drug-related charges. The company is officially called El Chapo Guzman JGL LLC and will launch a clothing line this summer, said attorney Mariel Colon Miro, who was often seen sitting next to Guzman at his 3-month-long trial in federal court. A posting for the LLC appeared Friday in the New York Law Journal, part of a legal requirement for LLCs to announce publicly when they are created. The first posting was listed late last month. I am very excited to start this project, which was based on ideas and concepts that my husband and I had years ago, Coronel told CNN in a statement. It's a project dedicated to our daughters. Corel, a former beauty queen with an interest in fashion, has twin 7-year-old daughters with Guzman. She was a regular presence at her husband's trial and was often swarmed by media reporting on her fashion choices in court.
Okay.
Guzman agreed to give intellectual property rights of his name and signature to the LLC, but will not earn any money from it for himself, said Michael Lambert, another attorney who has worked with Guzman. Well, technically he won't get any, but I'm sure his family will, and I'm sure anytime he needs something, his family will.
He's probably got plenty stashed somewhere,
Yes.
What was I read? Like he would have to throw away so much money, or maybe that was who was the other dude that died or got killed back in the 90s? Anyways, one drug lord threw away like $1 million a year in waste because it would like rot or whatever. Or rodents would chew on it or whatever. It was because he couldn't store it in a bank. He just had
Pablo
it on a warehouse. Escobar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, he wanted to be able to set something up, a legitimate enterprise for the benefit of his wife and his 2 daughters, Lambert said. He loves his wife and he loves his daughters, and he wants to prepare for the future. Guzman, who is under court order to communicate only with attorneys and only about matters related to his case, had to receive special permission to be able to sign the civil contract that would give his intellectual property rights to the LLC, according to court filings. Anyway, it just goes on and on and on and on about how he's not actually getting any money from this, and this is for his family. Lawyers say that this is going to boost the Mexican economy.
Sure.
I'm just looking forward to seeing all the skater kids on the X Games wearing El Chapo shirts.
Let's say in the pantheon of male fashion, you got Hugo Boss. He's got a checkered past too. He designed a lot of the Nazi uniforms. Ralph Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, and now El Chapo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all fine. So, I don't know that I'll be buying an El Chapo suit at any time. I imagine they're going to be pretty flashy. I mean, in my mind, in my mind's eye, when I picture what the El Chapo shirt and tie combo looks like, probably not going to be anything I can wear and look cool.
I might pick up an El Chapo t-shirt just to wear it to VBS. I'm sure none of the other volunteers there will know what it means.
Probably not. I have no idea.
What I'm really looking forward to is the Netflix series that's based on El Chapo.
Yeah,
to complement the Pablo Escobar show.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Hugo Boss, he did some pretty sketchy stuff. We still wear his clothes. And I guess El Chapo, if they look good, people will buy them. And like you say, or they will just be gaudy and ugly, and kids on the X Games will buy them because that's what they do,
Well, because that makes you cool. It makes you an outsider.
Yeah, I'm wearing the clothes of a man who killed countless thousands of people and terrorized others, and led plenty of people into lives of addiction that ruined themselves.
Because I'm down with the counterculture,
That's
man.
right, and I'm edgy.
Yeah.
It's like, what's his name? The beret guy.
Yeah. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. What is his name? Che something. Anyways, they all wear those shirts. And you're like, hey, man, he wasn't as cool as you think he was.
He was a revolutionary.
Yeah.
But revolution in the sense of let's kill a lot of people.
Yeah, we killed a lot of people. Yeah, right. Wasn't really down with homosexuals either. Didn't like them at all. People don't know that. They forget that. But killed a lot of those too. So anyways, just throw that out there. People wear it because they think it's cool. because somebody did in a Rage Against the Machine video once or something. You know?
Yeah.
But that's how kids are. They're stupid. I was a stupid kid too.
I was as well.
I'm a stupid adult now. So, anyways. We want to thank our sponsor, world famous Cajun Curl Bayou Blended Spice, for their support. Check them out at CajunCurl.com. You can order their spice and their Cajun Curl chip cutters right there on CajunCurl.com. Coming soon, El Chapo Fashion Line, right on CajunCurl.com. It was created on the Elm Bayou in Evangeline Parish, Louisiana, and it's a seasoning that goes on everything. If you like cooking or eating, this is a spice for you. Cajun Curl Bayou Blended Spice goes well with chicken, beef, pork, potatoes, and anything else you can think of putting it on. The spiral potato cutter is absolutely amazing. It's easy to use, it's easy to clean, and will allow you to make your own chips using the Cajun Curl spice. If you want to turn your next cookout or event up a notch, imagine whipping up a batch of homemade potato chips. On their website, CajunCurl.com, sorry, lost my place where I was reading. You can not only order the original Bayou Blended Spice, but the Cajun Curl chip cutter as well, and you'll also find recipes there that are absolutely mind-blowing. You can locate your nearest retailer or order your own. Here locally, it's available at Vowels on Skyland Boulevard, South's Finest Meats, and Piggly Wiggly in Northport. And if your local grocer doesn't carry world-famous Cajun Curl Bayou Blended Spice, ask them to start stocking it. All of their products are made in the USA, so not only do you enjoy the taste of Cajun Curl, but you also feel patriotic while you enjoy your meal. It's all natural, low salt, and has a little kick to it, but it doesn't burn your lips. World-famous Cajun Curl Bayou Blended Spice. Taste the spice, but not the heat. CajunCurl.com. Check them out and use our promo code EOP10. That's the number 10 to get a 10% discount.
Because we ask that you use the spice, but we don't ask you to pay full price.
Amen.
Well, we did get a review this week.
All right.
All right.
Amen.
This comes from Drain the Swamp 2020.
Okay.
Rated 5 stars.
Okay.
Titled.
Wonder who he's for.
Titled Best Podcast Ever. As a person who had never even heard of a podcast before listening to you guys, I can't think of a better one to start with. I have told everyone I know about you guys.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. To those millions of people out there who I haven't blessed with the existence of this show, I'm telling you now, if you don't listen to this show and absolutely love it, you don't love America or yourself.
Amen.
Now, that may sound a bit extreme. I don't think so.
No, not at all.
But Fox News ran a story on it last night that we all know that the only thing more accurate than Fox News is the Bible itself.
That's 100% facts. Spot the lie. There's not one.
Yeah. Also, now that I have submitted my review, I would like my Groucho Marx glasses.
Okay.
Hey, we'll get them right out to you.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't have social media, so therefore I can't make a post with them on, but I can promise you that I will stare people down at Walmart. Probably not the weirdest thing they've ever seen at Walmart.
Not at Walmart in Alabama, at least.
And with them on, which will probably get me arrested and featured on the news, so you guys can have a great story to talk about on the show.
That's amazing.
John is actually a friend of mine, so he can just give them to me in person. We met at a furry convention back in 2005.
That's true. That's true. I was hoping that wouldn't get out, but now I know who wrote this.
So he should know exactly who I am.
That's exactly right. I know who it is.
I was the one with the ring-tailed lemur costume.
Yes. Looked mighty good in it, too, by the way.
But anyways, thank you so much for keeping me entertained every week. You guys are awesome. MAGA.
Oh, to the person
John,
who wrote
would
that.
you care to elaborate on this? What
Well,
were you doing at a furry convention in 2005?
Man, if I like to dress up like a wolf sometimes in a mascot costume with other people who like to dress up in mascot costumes, don't judge me.
Who am I to judge?
That's right. That's right. Okay? If I ask you to dress my mannequin, dress my mannequin. Okay? Yes. So the person who wrote this is really, I mean, he did great with it. And he's a really awesome person. One of my favorite people that I know. And is super awesome. And, just because we happen to be furries doesn't mean that you have to look down on our lifestyle, okay?
Agreed. You're not hurting anybody.
That's right. I'm not hurting it. What goes on between consensual adults and mascot outfits is
consenting animals.
That's right. Is perfectly normal, right? He and I had a real good conversation the other day about the furry phenomenon. So,
all right.
Yeah. I'm sure that's why that got dropped in there. Just for the record, for all my family members and stuff, I've never been to a furry convention. Everything's been done on the up and up. So, just get that out there. That's one of my favorite reviews all time.
That was a good.
Oh
one.
Yes, Drain the Swamp 2020. Thank you. He's a big time Republican. Hell, yeah, he loves.
Really?
Oh, loves.
I would
Trump.
have never guessed that from the review.
Loves him. I mean, all the time has his MAGA hat on and all that. Big time Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Yep.
We also had some dealings with the Illuminati last week.
Oh, that's right. We did. I'd already forgotten about
But
that.
we may have to save that for next week.
Yeah.
We're going on a
Just
little
so you know,
long here.
just so our listeners know, I got recruited to be in the Illuminati.
John blew our shot.
Yeah, I did. I really did.
But I'm not too worried about it because
Well, I got a pending friend request from him on my personal page. So,
wow,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he knows that I'm the same person, but yeah. Yeah, the Illuminati tried to recruit me, and I blew our shot. And maybe we'll talk about that next week.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't like eating babies.
No, I told him that straight up. You
It's
remember?
the most heinous, evil thing possible.
Yeah. Only things I really wanted to know is what their health insurance plan was like, and that I was not going to eat a baby or do any weird stuff.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he just stopped talking to me. Weird. Totally weird. Yeah. Totally weird.
Speaking of which, I don't want to get off the subject, but for everyone out there following the Q conspiracy,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever come right out and said it, but they've definitely alluded to the idea that the elite eats babies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that Trump has proof of this.
Oh, sure he does. Of course.
But just a question, okay? Okay, I know that Trump is new to politics, but he has been a billionaire his whole life,
Yeah.
and he is always running the elite circles.
Oh, yeah. He's eating a baby.
What are the chances he's never eaten a baby?
Oh, no, he's definitely eating a baby. I mean, maybe just like a nibble, just a taste test or whatever. But he's definitely eating a baby. I can tell by looking at him.
You think he went and told the chef, that's the best baby ever.
Best.
Everyone agrees.
You come to the Trump casino, you get the best babies.
That's terrible.
That is terrible. That is totally terrible. Yeah.
All right, well, on that note. You have been listening to Earth Oddity Podcast, and we thank you so much for listening to us, no matter where you get us, whether you get us on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher. We're on them all.
Everywhere.
If you would like to write into the show, and I don't know why you wouldn't, you can get us at earthoddity@planetmail.net. If you would like to tweet at us, and hey, our Twitter following has been
It's growing.
it's been growing quite a bit here lately.
That's right.
And I've only had to follow 5,000 people to get it up that high. Anyway, you can tweet at us. We are _Earth Oddity. And do you like pictures? You can look at those pictures at _Earth Oddity on Instagram.
Yep.
And we also have a phone number. What's that phone number?
662-493-2059. That's 662-493-2059. People are calling it all the time, leaving us messages.
Trying to recruit us into
Try to get us into elite
secretive societies.
Yes, that's right. And so you should call too and maybe just say whatever you want to. It would be kind of fun to hear from you.
We hope everybody out there has a great week. Earth Oddity for the Fringe Radio Network signing off.
Love y'all.
Bye.
This has been a very odd production. Thanks for listening.